So this is a meeting. Welcome to the Plymouth Charter Commission on Monday, January 23rd. We have present in this room the 5 commissioners, 3 present on Zoom, as we try to get a connection to, if they can hear us as we're speaking here. In this room.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Stay.
Can you take the conference call and just add the others? I just added Frank. Somebody want to call the other 2?
Let me go get my phone.
Yeah.
We have 3 things to.
You're getting feedback because they can hear us, we can't hear them, so they need to turn their volume down.
So we got 3 items tonight. Thank you for coming. But we pretty much already resolved them, and let's talk about where we are. So it shouldn't be a long meeting to cover the 3 points. The first one, because it bears on the other 2, is like a report about our budget. First, I called it my glasses are broken, so Michelle, you prepared an update of our current budget. And this has been passed out to everybody here at the table. And we have remaining in the budget as of today, we have $5,000 printing, legal services remaining of $38.63, and other charges of what, $10,250. Is that right?
Correct.
So that means we have like a little over $19,000 still available. Against which we know there's going to be another legal bill from Anderson and Krieger for that opinion that was rendered January 13th. It couldn't be very large, it's a short opinion. So I think if we have $2,000 or thereabouts, which we do, that will be covered. So those are the monies that are available. The question has come up how the charter should be distributed to the voters. And the issue was that section 11 of chapter 43B requires it to be distributed in printed hard copy to every resident as a voter. And the options for doing this have been discussed between Michelle and the town manager's office. At one point around the holidays, they were thinking of actually sending out a postcard with an URL link instead of the actual hard copy of the charter. And then people could read it online electronically. And granted, that was the 21st century way of doing it, but it isn't what 42B actually states. So they contacted the Attorney General by email twice and didn't get any response during the Christmas week. I started emailing the Attorney General as well, and actually then called them. And finally, I got a call back from the Assistant Attorney General who read our charter in September. That was Kelly Gunnigan. And she called me on January 11th. Apologized for being unavailable sooner, but said basically the Attorney General does not want to get involved in this particular question. They feel their job was completed when they reviewed our charter to be sure it was consistent with state law back in September. And that's their role in the process. They didn't want to be, actually, for words, get dragged in any kind of a court dispute or legal angle on how the charter should actually be distributed. And basically, they told them, they said, Plymouth, you can read the statute. You're on your own. So good luck. But they weren't going to even render advice because they said if we give you advice and you act on it, and then later somebody challenges it as not complying with the statute, then they would be dragged into it because you acted on the Attorney General's advice. So that was their rationale for not even giving us any advice. So the town manager sought legal counsel and got an opinion, which I sent to everybody here from Attorney Bergeron, who was one of the town council, and you've read his opinion. And it was in support of an enhanced postcard type distribution, enhanced with the postings and copies available in the library and that sort of stuff. And we also solicited, because I felt it was important enough, council, our own special counsel's opinion, George Hall and Anderson Krieger, that he rendered his opinion, which I also sent you. And I think of it as sort of to summarize his opinion is that, yes, there's other ways of trying to communicate with the voters, but the statute is very specific, and if you don't follow the statute, and don't even attempt to follow the statute, come up with your own scheme, he thinks there's substantial risk that somebody could challenge that. And then it would go to court, either with a declaratory judgment or an action after the vote, and be successful in overturning the vote and having to do the process all over again. And he just, his words were, he felt, and you can see the last paragraph in his opinion, this would be a substantial risk. So he was advising that we should follow the statute. There's only one reported case on the subject, which is different. It was a town of Methuen, and they actually, select board there did follow the statute, but sort of watched it and missed different groups like nursing homes and rest homes and other groups of voters. So it's kind of a sloppy job, and it was challenged in court. And the judge said, look, they tried, they made a lot of mistakes, but unless you can prove that it affected the vote, we're going to dismiss the case. And the case was dismissed. The difference between our case and that case is in the Methuen, they at least tried to follow the statute. As George Hall pointed out, they printed 13,000 copies, mailed 11,000 of them, hand-delivered the couple thousand. In other words, they did a real attempt to get the hard copy out. And George felt that for a town that just sort of do our own way, and he felt that the legislature, if they want to change the statute, will, but otherwise we have to comply with it. You can't have any town out there doing it the wrong way. So we had those two opinions. I sent them to the town manager and suggested that I'd like to talk to him about it because we're going to be meeting tonight. I know it's on the select agenda tomorrow. So this morning I did get an email from Lynn saying that could we, if we decide to do a mailing, can we use money that's left over in your budget? And I gave you those numbers and figured you had about $17,000 or $18,000 left over, and said I could see no other need for it at this point. Pretty good application of those funds. And then I got a call later from the town manager saying that his assistant, Anthony, Leslie, is working with Michelle. The two of them could do a distribution. And this is where, Michelle, you can sort of jump in at this point. But basically, it would be sending the charter to every voter, not just every house, every resident, actually not just every resident where there's a voter, but townwide mailing to everyone. And the form of it would take like this, like a magazine. Mm-hmm. You can take a look at this. This is kind of a very neat way of doing it, I think. Easily kept together, easy to read. And the town manager said that he thinks that the select board would like to send the red line copy out. And we've got two versions there on the table. One is the clean version, the other is the red line version. And because he said the select board was strong in it, what the town wants to see is the changes to what we currently have. And that's what the red line version does. So I thought we would discuss it tonight, and give them a report, see what the commission felt, and the select board would make their decision tomorrow. So that basically is where we are on distribution of the charter. So let's open up for comment. I'm the first of those that are present on the computer.
I got a hand up from Frank, man.
Okay. Rich has a comment.
Is he on your phone?
Yes.
Right.
Frank.
David's on my phone, my son.
Frank?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so,
What's the matter?
I mean, some of the details I would like to know, well, let me preface this by saying, because I'm campaigning for my board, like wrestling as well, coming across a lot of people talking about this issue and asking me questions about it. And my general question is, in terms of the cost of the mailing, that there's a lot of negativity about that. So if there's any way to mitigate that, I think that would be important to do so. I'm not, you know, I don't know if there's a difference between the price of mailing the new charter and or the red line charter. I would think the red line would be larger and heavier and more expensive. If the select board, which does do, or the town, which does do other mailings, could tack this on to another mailing and therefore have some funds used for that as well, be kind of involved, like there's a recreation department mailing, other types of mailings that perhaps could be as, you know, included in one of those mailings, therefore not, you know, save additional costs. But I think that's really important to try to do for everyone's sake, and for people to view this in a positive way. I myself, if there had been the ability, if the, you know, wish the Attorney General had been more inclined to give us an opinion, that would have been a really big help. I do think that a modern version, I do think most people are not going to read the charter, whether it's red line or not. I think it's a little bit of a speech argument to say we need to mail the red line because people, that's what they want. Yeah, there's probably, being honest, 100 people that are going to read that entire thing and looking for red line. You know, what is it, a 60-page document? So I guess that's my opinion. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, just to respond to Frank, we do have numbers. I was actually surprised at the numbers, but the town manager gave me numbers over the telephone. Maybe Michelle, you probably have the same figures. But he told me that mailing just the red line was either the low 20, the low 20s. If we're trying to mail both, it would cost maybe 30.
Well,
But the version, just mailing one red line version, the number was 21,000.
no, that's the number of mailing copies.
So what is
We're using the voter, we're trying to use the voter registration list if that's what they want to do. And there's 28,000 households on the registration, on the registered voter list.
Just
we're
for the red
looking-
line?
No, anything,
That's the voter list.
Okay.
going by
That's the
43B,
number of voters. not
That's
the
right.
lot.
that's the number of households,
Households,
with
28,000
one or more
So
voters.
that's number of people, households.
households. There's close to 40,000 voters in Plymouth registered,
But-
but households about 20.
But if we only mail it to registered voters, it's going to take a lot more effort because now it has to go into an envelope with an address label on it,
As opposed to
using a service of the post office called door-to-door direct mail, which is the way we get our recreation brochures, which is the way you get your supermarket flyers. So basically what we do is get 35,000, 40,000 printed. They are taken to the post office and every carrier takes trays of them. Here is Michelle Turner's mail, and she gets one of these also in her receptacle, P.O. box.
It's a lot more financially,
what's the cost?
effective.
The cost difference is that it costs 20 cents to send per piece door-to-door direct delivery.
So what's the total cost?
Opposed to, that's a good question.
Right now, we have printing fees ranging anywhere from one printer prints on something called newsprint. And it's going to be the same, size. It's just a recycled paper. 35,000 copies, color, are $10,200.
Okay,
Another printer was $47,000 using nice white paper
right,
because they don't have newsprint.
right.
So most of the other printers, the average was about 75,000 between printing and mailing.
$75,000.
Correct.
To print and mail to every
30,
household.
right, about 35,000.
30.
If we mail to every household, we need to get about 60,000 printed. Because we can't discern you're a voter, but you're not a voter. So that we're gonna skip that house, we're not
Well,
skipping that.
well,
We're
okay.
giving it to everybody. And the selectman, Anthony from the selectman's office there was a section, there's some blank sheets in the back of the charter. He was gonna write some information about voters. When's the last day to register to vote on this charter? Just some giving voters some information about the election, about how to register to vote, and deadlines and things like that. So if a person that's not a registered voter gets it and says, what the heck is this? They can hopefully read some instruction page on the back.
So it would be helpful to know apples and apples instead of, because you're saying that it would be cheaper to send if we did the
Door to door.
door to door, okay?
Correct.
Direct. We still have the printing cost,
We still have print.
okay? But how much would that cost? It's printing cost is printing cost, all right? We've got that.
Anthony and I
It's
are
whether
lending
we-
towards this using the recycled paper.
Okay,
$10,000 for 35,000. If we double that, it's 20,000 in printing. To mail, to get 70,000.
So Michelle, what's the cost of sending it out door to door?
Direct.
Direct.
Let's only use the same word. Direct is the households.
So
It
what's
was
the
20 cents. you
It's
said.
20 cents, let's say times 60,000.
60,000 houses.
60,000 residents,
No,
PO boxes, everything.
I was just talking about, so we're not.
It's everything. It's every apartment
Hang on,
building.
So we're all speaking the
Everything.
same language, so keep the confusion down. Direct is the direct mail is just to a household. We're doing one to the
No.
house.
No, if we do direct, it's going to go to every person that lives in Plymouth.
Okay.
so
Based on
every
the
household
census.
will get multiple, if there's two voters in a household.
No, we're only getting one per PO box, one per household.
Doing it that way seems obviously the way to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, if we're looking at it, that's what
Send
the
everybody
statute, the
down.
statute
That's
says.
everybody's town.
It says,
Well, no, the
distribute
statute says
residents.
registered voter.
A, it's cheaper. B, more
Each
people get it.
residence of one, each residence of one or more voters.
Yeah,
So it's actually the statute saying one per residence.
right.
So
That's all the requirement is.
What's the statute? say?
Maybe some people will register to vote.
That's what we were hoping.
Yes. That's a good idea. The back page information is a good idea to put that, like, this is when the election is. this
Yeah,
is when
like
you
what this
register.
is, what this
That's all
document
very
is.
good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, why you're getting it.
The,
Vote their constitution. They go to jazz.
But-
put them on the last
all right, as we're here tonight, what are we?
I think tonight, we should just agree on a minimum. If the select board want even to go more than that, great, but we gotta agree what we think is sufficient to get this moved out.
So the postage at 20 cents each for 60,000 copies is $12,000. And plus 10,000 for printing.
10,000 for only 35,000 copies, so double that. Looks like, you know,
So that's 20,000 plus 12,000, 32,000.
And we have 18,000 in the bank.
But we, the select board,
Yeah, but the select
Let's
board
go that route.
said, Rich contributing towards their budget.
so that would be $32,000 if we do door to door direct.
And that would be good. I think we're hitting the most people.
It would be more if we tried it the other way, right? Is what we're saying?
if we have to mail it to only registered voters, the only way we can do that, to know that is with an envelope with a label on it,
Yeah.
Which costs twice.
which is first class
How
mail,
do we cinch that?
By the way, if you send this out, you might get.
which is, could be like $1.56.
Probably 5 times as much.
I think it's like $1.56 to mail it,
Right.
Plus,
It's like 7
all
times.
the envelopes that we have to purchase and,
That's fine.
waiting for everybody else to stop talking. All right, and I'm gonna preface this with, in several of my campaigns, I actually used that type of mail service to distribute literature. And because the reason why I did it was because it was fiscally more effective, a way to distribute things to hit voters. So I would make a motion that we support the post office's direct mail service.
Okay, the motion's been made that we do the.
I would second that.
Votes to everybody, motion's been seconded.
Right.
Any comment up there?
I'd like to amend that motion to.
Okay, so Frank Mann asked, what is the cost of printing 60,000 copies?
That's 12,000.
About 20,000. No, it's 10,000. Oh, 10,000 for 35,000 copies.
Okay.
10,225.
Bill, do you have an amendment?
Did you hear that, Frank?
Not like
One at a time, Bill, go ahead,
So I would add that it be direct mail and the newsprint. The newsprint that you recommend.
Well,
I would add
as Bill knows,
Can we do-
you
can we
folks
do-
can recommend, but it's going to be the select
Yeah, that's
board's
what, but
decision.
that's,
But I think they'll look at the most.
yeah, recommendation is
Yeah.
direct in print with the news.
So
Yeah.
I will modify my motion to support the most cost-effective, fiscally responsible way to send this to everybody,
Whoa,
Good.
which would be,
which would be direct.
and the newspaper.
Okay, that covers.
I will continue my second. with the
Any
amendment.
further discussion?
Yeah, I just put that in the charter. Is this just for the red line version?
David,
Yeah, I'm
Go ahead, David.
calling in through Bill's number, I
We
think.
can't hear you.
Are you
I'm
still,
supposed to be talking through Bill's phone.
David, are you still on the phone?
Yes, I am.
All right, go ahead.
Well, it's on Bill's phone, I think, 605-3788. But I put it in chat too. Is this being
David,
just,
you gotta hold your phone closer to your mouth.
okay, is this for just the red line or for both the red line and the final?
This question, is this just the red line or the red line and
That's
the?
the next question.
That's the follow-up
That's up to
question.
the selectmen. It's
we can
it doesn't matter how many copies we print. It's $10,225 to print 35,000 red line. It costs 8,000 to print 35,000 all black.
David, I'm thinking that it's just the red line.
Well, it just, my thoughts, in an ideal world, we have both. So the people can compare them. I worry, like Frank has worried that 80% of our population may not look at it at all, but I want to have a fully informed electorate because this is pretty important. But
Well, the motion on the table, David, right now is just how we're gonna send it.
okay, and I support how we're going to send it.
Okay,
Wrestling, is he ready for the vote?
he is ready for the vote.
Okay, all in favor of sending it by direct to every household using newsprint, raise their hand. So there's 5 here, 6, looks like it's unanimous for
Unanimous online.
7 people in favor, 1 opposed, 2 absent. The next question is, what is being sent? Bill?
I would recommend that we send, at least we send the red line version, where you have the red line version with the new version.
Okay, so Bill is recommending we send the red line version. That is also the preference for the town manager, that we just send the red line version.
But David Peck seemed to have some concern about, he wanted to send, David wanted to send both.
I think that's what he said.
That's correct. So I'm putting on the table, send them both. So people can be properly informed.
That will double our cost.
Yeah.
But again, it's our job to recommend to the select board,
Town
know,
manager.
and I think they have an obligation to support us.
David, we can't hear you.
It's as close as it can be. As close as it can be. Okay. But, main thing is I wanted to get it out. So I'm supportive of the first vote. But in an ideal informed electorate, just like we get, all this information booklets about referenda and stuff, I sure would like to, send out a full package. I can't hear Michelle. She's.
Really get into it.
Three things I got out of the conversation there. One is it would double the cost to send both. Two, he and he thinks the select board agrees it's important to send a red line version so people can see changes from the current charter. Three, he thinks that just reading, most people aren't going to understand know much about the issue to begin with, and they just see a blank black and white charter. They're not going to know really what the new charter is all about because of being old and new altogether. So his strong recommendation is just go with the red line, and let's try to do both.
I support that.
That's it.
I move that we recommend to the select board that they mail just the red line.
That,
But the clean version's available on our website and stuff, right?
Right, if that's what they put it.
Yeah, everything's everything's available.
I think the only addendum to that motion I would make is that somehow, the clean version is the website or where you can get it is kind of added to this.
And the instruction page will say that also, that
Yeah,
they can
as
see.
long as the instruction page directs them to
right,
the website or some other forum, because the clean one's a lot easier to read,
that's right.
and a lot less cluttered. But we don't want to. We want to be fiscally responsible as well. So as long as there's some type of way that in the instructions they're directed to the clean copies available
Scott, is
here.
that people should be able to see the document and see that we're increasing the select board by two members. Just reading the clean one, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I know the red line version, but a lot of people, like I said, get when it gets cluttered and they're trying to figure it out. Some people like to look at the clean. Like I like the red line one because it shows you the changes. But at the same token, there's going to be people that want to just read a clean copy of it. So I mean, as long as the instruction page is directed. I'll second it.
Bill seconded. We could, on those last couple of pages, we could put anything we want on there.
Just some type of instructions that direct them to where to read the clean copy.
Michelle, anything you want to add at this point?
I don't think so.
Any discussion on Betsy's motion?
The only discussion I would have is I think that people who would want both, if they can go, they would be the ones who would go to the website and download it before this anyway. And I think if we have the option to download it or go online to watch it, that it's fine just to have one red copy.
We're going to the town clerk.
Right.
I think that maybe they could put at the front here, instructions on page 63 or whatever, so that people, because otherwise, I know myself, I might not ever get to the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Took 2 years to get to the end.
That's true. And so it said instructions on page 63. On that page, it could give where to find a clean copy.
Okay.
So it's just
I mean,
a,
if he's adding stuff to the blank pages in the back end.
And if we can afford, Anthony and I have discussed possibly getting 500 copies, a clean copy might be available. If we can do
In your
that.
office. Or the clerk's office.
Yeah, library,
Clerk's office,
a few in the libraries.
I think all town meeting.
Good.
So we should get an email and told the charter of how it's going out.
I think we're ready for the vote.
All right, any other discussion on the motion, that's the motion? Which is to send the red line with, and take advantage of the blank pages, of instructions in the back and how to find the clean version. Okay, more discussion? Ready for that vote?
yeah.
Do you have public comment? No.
Yes,
You
no,
want to say anything about when you'd like to have it done?
when
When you might want to have
Timing.
it sent out?
it's going
I
out,
think the
Yeah.
statute's-
The statute's pretty clear on that.
statute
Yeah,
is totally crazy. Statutes are got later than 2 weeks before the.
Right.
Where?
In informal discussions, we talked about February, March. When I called
Good.
Mr. Bergese tomorrow morning, I'll ask this question. When do we think it should go up? I think it should.
I think we need to have the vote on the red line, and then we can talk about it.
I mean, we're hoping within the first 2 weeks of March. That is our
Let's
plan.
handle the motion first, so I think is there any further discussion? Kevin, did you want to say something? Betsy?
Yeah.
All in favor of Betsy's motion, raise your hand. Looks like, again, it's.
Frank, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous online, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you. 7 votes in favor, none opposed. So the next question, when do we recommend the mailing take place?
These 3
Wait,
weeks.
to what?
Yeah.
4 weeks before the election.
I guess the question should go up before or after town meeting.
Is
4 weeks before the election.
Larry.
Larry. But before,
Yeah.
Michelle was talking about the first couple weeks in March, right?
Sounds good.
That's what we're aiming for. I mean, it all depends on, once we give the printer the job and how long it takes and.
Yeah.
Michelle, the only question is whether it would be more effective if you wait until town meeting is over. And then send it.
No way.
no.
Because there's a lot of stuff going in the.
No way.
before town meeting.
Not the rest
When's
of it.
town meeting?
No, but-
April? Not until April, you say?
No,
Wow.
I think it should go up in March.
When is town meeting?
I would vote-
it's
I would
before the
vote-
election, not town meeting.
Yeah.
I would vote I would make the motion that we recommend Michelle's timeline of the first 2 weeks in March.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been recommended in a motion that the mailing take place the first 2 weeks of March.
Ideally.
Frank has something to say.
Frank?
Because I wanted to know, the League of Women Voters is doing a lot of informational sessions, and I didn't know what the timing of those was, and it would be good to have this out before that. I just wanted to know if that, any way to sync that up.
Awesome.
The first one is at the senior center, and it's February, the end of February. Or is it the end of March? I don't have my calendar, I'm sorry. But we would appreciate it sooner rather than later. And
At the meeting Sunday night, you announced 2 dates.
yeah,
One was 3rd or 4th week of March.
then that's the Cal.
April.
And then,
Carol.
yeah.
March and public is April.
So those dates would conform to sending the charter out 2 weeks early March.
Frank, did you
Yeah.
hear that?
Yes,
Okay. Does that answer your question?
yes.
All right, so we have a motion, actually passed that motion.
No.
No, we haven't voted.
No.
Any more discussion on it?
Nope.
Ready for the vote on when the mailing takes place? All in favor of sending it out or recommending it to be sent out the first couple of weeks of March? Aye.
Looks unanimous online.
Okay, again, 7 votes in favor, none opposed. Any further business regarding this bill?
I thought that we should probably take a motion that we concur and agree with the town's assessment that at the end of this program, there should be information about how you register to vote, when the election is. So what you said about what Anthony is working on, and what that we should concur with that that's a good idea, that information is back here. But I do add one thing, that when you open this thing up, it says, here before you is the new proposed town charter. The red line of the changes, the document is in front of you. I think we need to have like something that says something here. So when you get at the doorstep and you pick this up, you go, what's this? And you open it up like, oh, here before me is the town charter, the election's in May. Go to the back page to learn more about getting registered to vote.
What is,
Okay,
red
sorry.
line?
Okay, all right. I just thought maybe something there. And then I saw this blank page here, and I thought it might be something like a little dear voter. This is, this is great. Town Plymouth proposed charter, red line. But when you open it up, you can say, dear voter. We'll personalize it a little bit.
You mean spoon feed this entire thing?
Okay, don't do it. Just an idea. Canceling it, withdrawing it.
If you open it up,
I just thought it would say nice to say when you open it up.
It may not be a blank page right there. If the printer starts printing this letter on this side and
Okay.
it all
you have
just.
to breathe through this, so.
Mr. Chairman,
But if
Well, that's
do we,
right.
Hold a second. Wrestling next, please.
do we need to have a vote about using the excess funds to help out the elected?
Who's the next one?
The excess funds, we talked about the excess funds.
Turning it over.
Turning it over to selected. Do we need to have a vote in discussion? I would move that we turn over the excess funds to help with the cost of mailing.
Excess funds reserving enough to pay our legal costs.
Yes.
Right. Is that seconded?
Yes, seconded.
Seconded. Any discussion? Did you hear that motion? Any other discussion? All in favor of?
It's sort of about, is there anything else that we can imagine that we need, any kind of communication with people, anything else we could imagine using in
If
uniform?
there's a campaign, no one wants to be part of it.
I just didn't know if there's any other communication.
Yeah.
Very good, excellent.
Okay. All in favor of Wesley's motion, that the excess fund reserving up for council, we turn it over to the select board to do the vote.
Unanimous online, Mr.
Everyone in favor?
Unanimous online, Mr. Chairman.
Wesley, will you-
That's all it's.
Unanimous online. The people online who voted unanimously for it.
Okay. Did you guys hear vote?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So could I ask a couple questions about what we just voted on? Did we say after all the expenses, or did we say only legal expenses? Did we say after all the,
That's the only expense that we.
the only expense we have? Okay.
Pass. Beautiful.
Any other related business involving getting the charter up? Okay, there's another, our final assignment is to write a short summary that goes on the ballot. We have a few weeks to do that, but we talked in a few sentences. So that has to be done by the Charter Commission. Statute's very specifically done that the commission prepares that summary. So we'll do a draft and circulate it. Just explaining the major changes in the charter. In a few sentences.
Is that something you're gonna need special counsel's opinion on?
You know when the deadline is, Michelle?
Oh, we can find that out, but is that, once the language is drafted, are you gonna request special counsel's opinion on that?
It's gonna be very layman type.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, any public comment?
I wanted to say something about, public events and debates. The one that says discussion, detailed process for charter approval. Underneath, ballot summary, it says reach out process for charter explanation. I would like to say something about that. And that is, I'm very happy to participate in any kind of a forum To talk about the charter. I do not, however, want to participate in debate about the charter. In other words, I'm happy to explain, from my point of view, everything we did over the last 2 years, but I don't want to argue about the number of selectmen. I think we've done that by adding an item, and so I would rather it not be a debate as such. Does that make sense?
It's hard to say that.
Yeah, but I don't want to shut people down, but I think that if we could spend a whole evening just talking about how many selectmen, people say, well, I think this, it should be 9, it should be 4, it should be 7, whatever. So I think that it should be explanation of why we did what we did and what we did and why we did it, rather than debating the merit of every change that we made.
There's two types of events. So the league is going to have an event, or more than one event, right? So we're saying that we would love you to do that, and different commissioners will be at that event to speak. That's it.
I would like to speak, yeah.
Oh, I can't think of it like
No,
that.
I wasn't saying that. Making
But
one
then
to speak.
There are two more debate style events, which I think Plymouth First is sponsoring, one in April, one in March, which will be more back and forth type, the advocates. And so that's a different type of event.
Right, and I think it's too late to change it now anyway.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Why debate how many select persons are in the present charter? Because it's too late to change it anyway. For the next charter commission, or the next charter review committee, then they can debate those topics. But for now, to debate it seems to be a waste of time because it's too late to change it.
I would agree. I would agree, just for a point of discussion, I would agree. I would say that the League of Women Voters presented to the COPC Thursday. There was some pushback, there was some debate. Bobby Clark asked me, she did an interview with me, only talking about the pushback. The pushback from COPC was that they didn't feel, some of the members did not feel that they wanted to take on the added responsibility that the proposed charter was doing. Reporting back to you guys what they said. I think that it's interesting because my question to them was, I've put 4 years of my life into this, and they had ample opportunity to come and discuss it. Now that it's, like you said, it's written, we can't change it. So, but that's what happened Thursday night.
There's a good counter argument to that. Started on that because I think what you're asking CFPC to do is not lifting at all. It's not rocket science. It's just an evolution. And with a couple of strong vice chairs and as chairman, we could really do a hell of a job of that.
They could, and democracy is not a spectator sport.
Oh, thank
The
you.
other thing I just want to mention,
It's our motto.
Martha, is we really only covered half of your presentation. We didn't cover the select board and the planning board really. Nobody was able to see
Right.
the changes we're making to their powers. And
If we had all night, we might have done that.
Right.
So that could still be done.
Yeah.
We are going to, for your information, the league is going to have 2 meetings with our membership. They're just membership meetings. They're not public. And they're going to be one in February 16th and then March 16th. So we'll be discussing, and if people want to debate at that point in our league, that's fine. But we, as presenting, won't be presenting it any differently, basically, except than what we did at COPC. Except we might cover more.
Great.
But that meeting is only for members and
Yes.
members are specifically.
Right. So at this point, we have 2 other meetings that are public, which is senior citizens and the meeting April
We want to
27th.
schedule a meeting with some meeting members.
I mean, we could, if people can invite us to other places. If we're available, we come.
Since
I'm not suggesting we should shut down debate on this at all. I think a discussion about, here's why Mary's gonna vote for it and here's why John is not, is really important, legitimate. I just don't want to be defending the charter as a commissioner. Does that make sense, Mary?
Yes, I think you should be
I think you should
trying
be
to get other
careful.
people to vote for it.
I mean, I don't want to defend every change that we made in an hour or two.
I would be prepared for that because every event I've been to,
Because I think the league needs to find, at least if I were on the league, I would want to find a way to direct the discussion so that you're discussing the charter rather than discussing every single point.
I think what we want to do is start out with that premise. It's a yes or no vote, so we're not here to debate the number of selectmen, the at-large versus the district and all of that. That's what it is. So our role is really to educate and explain the
That's right.
differences, not to debate with anybody in the
Yeah, that's how I
audience.
feel.
We're being very careful because we haven't taken a position on it, the charter. So how can we debate?
And it's a yes or no vote.
and,
It's a yes or no vote.
your document takes debate out of it because your document says this is what it was, this is the change, and this is why they did it. And I really appreciate the document because, you know, I've taken that to different events and said, you know, look at this, because this really is a nonpartisan saying, this is why they did it. And this is why this change was made. Thank you.
One thing, if we have these events, I think we should send 3 commissioners at least to them, not just have one. Because I think 3, like Betsy and Wesley or Bill or Larry Kaiser, there is some real strengths among the commission that could speak at these events. 2 or 3
I would-
commissioners.
Can I be honest about this? Like, we've talked about that, and we have a board meeting next week, I believe, or the February, first week of February, February 2nd. If it was felt that it might look, if we invite commissioners to speak, that it might look like we're favoring the charter. So I see no reason why you can't attend as citizens and speak. But if we put you on the podium or have you a special speaking role, and I will get back to you after we have a board meeting and discuss it further. But that was preliminary. I'm just
So
saying
who
that.
would you invite?
We
To say
We have
anything
not
about-
gotten to that.
No,
point
we
yet.
would,
We
it would
really
just
haven't.
be members explaining to other people what the charter changes are, highlighting the changes for
Yeah,
them.
I'm fine with that.
Which is what you should do.
That's what
You
we
should
thought
do
we would do,
that.
right?
So do I get to come and participate?
You're a member, you can come to the member one. You can all join, all of you. So,
Okay. Is there any new business? Old business? Anything further on getting out the charter?
I'd just like to commend Frank's background.
I would second that.
Yeah. Motion to like Frank's background.
Those are some of the species indigenous to the coastal pine barrens, the unique area we live in.
Oh,
that's great.
Awesome.
I figured that when I saw the pine tree behind him.
I don't recognize the green ant though. I recognize everything there but the green ant.
I don't think that's an ant.
What is that?
Beetle, aphid.
What is it, Frank?
Let me see.
We digress.
We'll give you till next meeting.
Yeah, next meeting, you gotta talk to the bus star.
All right, next meeting.
You're gonna add a leprechaun for
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
I still want to say again and again, thank you very much to Michelle.
Yes.
She's just better.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah,
Make
we
a motion to,
appreciate it too.
So candidate for sainthood?
Michelle, does that complete our business for tonight?
That's
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? You're adjourned.